Hi friends! Hello! Hi! So today we are going to be doing something I've been looking forward to all summer, like literally all summer. We're going to be reviewing the Jaclyn Hill Morphe Vault collection. Y'all, my hair is a mess today, and I look crazy because I just have my eyes primed and my brows done. But that's because we're going to be playing with this little guy. So this is the Vault collection. This is the packaging it came in. It has a little ribbon that you can pull out all of the palettes. It has that really pretty Becca Jaclyn Hill vibe. I'm just kidding. That's just some tea. I guess there's a lot of drama with these palettes, and I'll kind of talk about it. But I also wanted to talk about like the palettes themselves. Obviously, the quality. Is the quality good? Is the quality there? That's kind of the big question. I've had the opportunity to use 3 out of the 4 palettes already. So I kind of have a little bit of a gist of how they perform. The only one I haven't used yet is Dark Magic, but we're going to do a look with that one today. So far, I would have to say my favorite is Bling Boss. I think this is a beautiful, beautiful palette, and it blends and is very pigmented and very nice. I like this one a lot. But I'm going to show you a look to do with all of them, and I'm excited to like play with them and try to get a little bit more creative. I also wanted to do something I haven't seen done. Everyone's kind of comparing these palettes to the older palettes that were put out from Morphe, so everyone's comparing them to like, because what happened with these palettes, if you don't know, they were supposed to release in, I think, June, and then Morphe said there was an issue with the pressing. So because of the issue with the pressing, they held off release, apparently allegedly destroyed all of the eyeshadow palettes that they had. Destroyed all of those and made these new ones. There's some new drama coming out that that's not the case, that it was actually because of a lawsuit. There's a lot of issues with these, but I just want to focus, like we'll talk about all that, but I want to focus on the palette. The other thing I wanted to say, I don't have the old palettes, so I can't compare them to the new pressed palettes, but what I do have is the Morphe Jaclyn Hill original palette, which I'm surprised nobody is comparing this palette to Ring the Alarm, which is the red palette in here, because there are some very similar shades, and I'm going to be swatching like these two specifically next to each other because I see quite a bit of similarities that I want to point out. Something I will say before starting this video and getting into the looks, I'm going to do swatches of all of these and I'm going to put some of them on my eyes, but this is just my opinion. I personally like Morphe shadows. I have no problem with Morphe shadows. I have quite a few Morphe palettes. I think I have like, this will make like a bunch, but I think I had, before I got the Vault collection, I think I already had like 6 Morphe palettes, including the Jaclyn Hill. So I do like Morphe shadows. I've always been a fan of them. I think they work well. I think they're very good for beginners in makeup. They're normal formula because they're not super, super pigmented, but they're easy to like blend out and work with. Yeah, so let's just jump right into this. This is just my opinion. I'm not being paid. Nobody told me to talk about this. I don't have a code. This is all 100% my honest opinion on this. So let's just start with Ring the Alarm. You can see the packaging. One cool thing about these that I really like is that the top of the palettes all have the name. This one says Ring the Alarm, which is really helpful when you have them all sitting in a drawer because they do all look identical, and they also all have different flecks of spots. There are the silver like shimmery spots, but they also have dots of like red and orange, which this is the red and orange palette. This is the darker palette. Like, you catch my drift, which is kind of helpful to differentiate the palettes. I'm going to go through and swatch Ring the Alarm first, and then we will jump into the eye look. Okay, so this is Lolly, which is a pretty pink. This is Rush, which is a matte orange. On camera is kind of a pure gold shade. The shade Boom, which is kind of more of a copper color. Boom. Sorry if my swatches are bad. I really am trying. Alert. These mattes are very, very creamy, I will say. That's Alert. That one's kind of lackluster. Now we're in the second row. We have Bomb Ass, Bright Red. We have Siren. Looks like that. We have Mugshot, which I saw a conspiracy that she named this Mugshot so her mugshot wouldn't come up when people search Jaclyn Hill mugshot, but. And then we have Framed, which is like a plum color. Looks very similar to Siren swatched, except Framed is kind of patchy. And then we have Secret, which is this dark brown, which also swatched pretty patchy. So these are like a little lackluster swatches, I'm not gonna lie. The only one that really sticks out is Bomb Ass, which is almost like a pinky red color. I think that one's really good. I am interested really quick to see, because this one and the Jaclyn Hill palette, I just felt this was unnecessary. It was supposed to be like the colors that were left out of the Jaclyn Hill palette, but I can look at these and like right off the bat see colors that kind of go together. Like this is the shade Pukey. It's like the same as Mugshot. I don't know if you guys can see that. That's Pukey, and this is Mugshot. Let's see with this red shade. The reason I'm surprised, see this one is like a better version of Framed. This red is a better version of this red right here. I don't know. I see a lot of similarities, especially in like some of the pink shades, the shimmer shades, and the red shades. I personally think if you already have the Jaclyn Hill palette, you do not need Ring the Alarm. I don't think there is enough, because realistically, this Jaclyn Hill palette is a warm toned palette with like a row of cool tones thrown in. I am going to compare some of these shades to Dark Magic, but I think they're different enough. But right off the bat, I felt like I didn't really need to get Ring the Alarm. It's just a palette that I didn't feel was necessary. I think what would have been cool, instead of doing a very red toned eyeshadow palette, would have been to do like a full colorful rainbow maybe, or something just really different. I think that would have been cooler than doing like a red tone palette that is very similar to the Jaclyn Hill palette, if that makes sense. But we're gonna do an eye look with it, see how it performs on the eyes, and just kind of like go from there. We're gonna do a voiceover for this, so I'm not wasting time because I talk too much. Okay, so first we're going to take the shade Rush, that really light shade, and I'm just kind of blending that really, really lightly into my upper crease. Just kind of throwing that in there to give some definition. Then we're going to go into Alert, kind of intensify that orange shade a little bit. We zoomed in all of a sudden. I'm going to go in with the shade Siren and really deepen up the especially outer corner of my crease, just to define that a little bit. And then go into the shade Framed and really just pat that on, not even really blend it, just to deepen that up. Then we're going to go in with our concealer and kind of do a mini cut crease. And I took my finger and went in with Bomb Ass and just patted that red all over the lid where I put the concealer. My finger got dyed. I took my Sacha spray and sprayed a fluffy brush, and then I put the shade Lolly over that red, just to kind of give it a little bit more sparkle because it wasn't as sparkly as I thought. I then took the shade Secret, that dark brown, and really deepened up that crease, blended it into the red. And then I took the shade On Camera and put that into my inner corner just to add a little bit of sparkle. Okay, I'm going to throw some mascara on. I don't know about this palette. Hold on. Let me put some mascara on and see if that helps. All right, what do we think? I think it actually is a cute look as a whole. That red shade is definitely red and nice. But I kind of, based on how I used it earlier today and the look I just came up with, this shade right here, this brown shade, I almost wish was just a little bit deeper, because you really can't get super, super deep with this, which would be cool if you could do like a red smoky eye. These two purples, kind of Siren and Framed, I've used both of these at this point now, and they kind of feel the same. The only shade I haven't used on my eye is Boom at this point. Everything else I've used. I don't know. It's a cool look, and I kind of like it. And I definitely like it a little bit, but I also feel I could create a similar look with just the Jaclyn Hill palette. This isn't like special. I don't think this was super necessary. I think already this is something you could skip if you still want the other three. We haven't like gone through those yet, but it gave me a decent eye look. It's not bad by any means. Like, this is definitely a cute eye look. It's red, it's cute. Like, this is not bad, but this is not like amazing, mind-blowing, perfect quality. Some of these shades were definitely a little patchy, a little weird, especially some of those oranges. These two orange shades, this one and this one, were a little patchy. So let's get all of this off and we'll move on to Dark Magic, which I'm the most nervous about because I hate dark colors. So we'll be right back. I'm gonna go through so many makeup wipes in this video, it's ridiculous. I should have bought some crappy ones instead of using my good ones because these are so expensive. Okay, so this is the one I haven't used at all, so this is going to be interesting. First shade, very buttery, is Poof, which you probably won't be able to... Ooh, no, that's a really pigmented white. Power Cut is this silver shade. That's pretty. And then Shh is this sort of bone gray color. That's a cool shade. This one is a lot more matte. There's only 3 shimmer shades. This shade Trickery. Ooh, that's really pretty. This shade is called Diversion. That's another stunning. These are really stunning. These colors are, I'm very much digging these. We have Potion, which is a green, a little weird. Busted is this blue. And then Inside Job. Okay, those 3 were pretty patchy, you guys can see. But swatches don't always mean that something's going to be bad. It's just kind of a way to see. It's just kind of interesting so you can see how all the colors are on the skin. Then we have Mojo, which is like a cool toned brown. And then Temptress, which seems like a very dark, almost blue-black color. So that's what they all look like. This is a cool palette. You can see those last few are pretty patchy, pretty splotchy, but that doesn't mean they'll be bad on the eye. It just means they don't swatch great. And then we'll jump into voiceover. Wow. We'll jump into voiceover Hannah. I just want to let you guys know too, I am using the Urban Decay Naked Skin and my Rimmel Stay Matte to prime my eyes. So that is what I'm priming my eyes with. Okay, so the first thing I did was take Poof and just put that all over, make some faces, put that all over my eye just to kind of put that on. And then I took the shade Shh. And I started putting that on the outer corner and the inner corner of my eye because I decided I wanted to do a halo eye with this look. So I'm kind of just putting that all over to set the tone. Then I'm going to take the shade Potion, and I'm really just going to place and lightly blend that color to put a base for Inside Job that I'm about to put on next. Just going to putting that, setting up the halo eye. Then I take Inside Job, and this is where I really start to pack on that color, and these blended beautifully together, both of those greens, setting up for a good halo eye. Took some concealer and just cut the crease in between those colors. Kicked the camera. Then I took the shade Trickery and patted that on the outsides of where I put the concealer, but I left the very, very center of the eye. I left that bare. Then I put a little bit more concealer on there just to kind of give myself some room to play with. And then with my finger, I patted on the shade Power Cut, which is that pretty silver shade, just to give it a nice metallic feel. This is where I went wrong in the palette. I decided to take the shades Busted and Temptress and put those on my lower corner, lower lash line, and those looked pretty bad. And that's how I did this look. Okay, so this, I look insane, I feel like, but I actually really like, the bottom I smoked out a little too hard, but if you look at the actual eye look, I feel like this actually is really pretty. Ended up loving this 3 matte shades that swatched horribly, but I'm definitely not used to cool tones on me, but I feel like if I did a full face with this would be really pretty and not as like intense and harsh because there's nothing. Maybe I'll throw some mascara on really quick so I can at least take myself seriously. Give me 1 second. I feel like that looks a little better. I still just did this under eye a little too intense, but that's okay. We were just playing. I really wanted to see how that blue performed, and it did perform really pretty under my eye. I think if you're a little bit afraid of cool tones and you're a little bit afraid of like maybe darker eyeshadow, this would be a really good palette to get into. The colors are not so, first of all, these colors are not like the most pigmented thing I've ever used. Like, they're not. You're not immediately getting pigment, but I think that's kind of good, again, for beginners. And for someone like me who is kind of afraid of dark eyeshadow because I look a little crazy sometimes when I use it, people who might be afraid of cool tone shadows, I think this is a really cool palette because I could have built this up to be a lot darker and a lot smokier than I did. I kind of made it not as dark and not as smoky, but I feel like this was cool. I'm trying to think. The only shade I didn't use was Mojo. Everything else I used. This Bone, what is it? Poof and Shh were really, really good as like transition shades. I really liked them. Overall, this palette, let me zoom you guys in just a little bit. But overall, this palette performed pretty nicely. Again, I should have done this disclaimer at the beginning. I am not a makeup artist. I am not an expert at eyeshadows. This is just a normal person playing with eyeshadows. So if you value that, but I'm not trying to claim that my eye makeup is like amazing, because it's definitely not. I will say these palettes already got really dirty. All of them are dirty, but they are wiping off. So they're like a sleeker packaging you can actually wipe off, which I appreciate. I think if you don't have anything like this, this is worth picking up. The cool thing about this is you can buy the whole bundle that comes in this little thing, or you can buy the palettes individually. So that's something to keep in mind. You don't have to buy all 4 of the palettes. Let me get all this off, re-prime, and then we'll start over again. My eyes are starting to get a little weird just because of the constant like rubbing at them and like reapplying stuff. So just know that if any of these, like especially in this part, if those get a little patchy, those are my eyes. That's not the palette's fault. So let's zoom you guys out. Palette. This is the one I thought was going to be really interesting, like a fan favorite. And I think it has been. I saw on Reddit that this one sold out at like multiple Ultas. This is kind of the big one right now because it's very like cool. It's warm toned without being reds, which is kind of nice. You've got the pretty yellow, this gorgeous like green color that I think is really cool. But let's just kind of swatch these and then talk about everything. So this first shade is VIP, which is just, ooh, that's a pretty white. That's really pretty. Okay. This shade is Access. Again, all of them feel very similar. Kind of a yellow toned. This is Guilt Trip, which is just a yellowy golds. Coin, which is like a green golds. And then this is called Agent, which is like an orange. So far that green gold is really shocking and pretty and the best. So this is Top Secret, which is a green. Smooth Caramel, which is a brown. And Secure, which is another orange. This orange is shockingly similar to Agent. So Agent and Secure look like exactly the same color, basically, just so you guys know. Ooh, this Classified shade is Scratchy. This is Prowl, which is like a dark brown, and then this is Classified, which is like a green, really pretty, but a little bit more chunky than the other ones. These other ones have been a lot more like just shimmery smooth. This one, Classified, is a little bit chunkier. So just to keep that in mind. So this is what they look like. Pretty nice, not too bad. Okay, so from the Dark Magic palette, there's this shade Potion. And in this one, there's the shade Top Secret. This is them side by side. And this is Top Secret from the Dark Magic palette, and this is a Potion from the Dark Magic palette, and this is Top Secret. They're very similar. So that's just something to keep in mind if you really loved this green shade, but you loved it in this palette too, and you're only getting this palette for the green shade, like the same exact green shades in here. Oh! Okay. Oh, yeah. So in the, what's this one? In the Sound the Alarm palette, this orange Rush, very, very similar to Agent and Secure, the oranges in this one. That is the orange in the Armed and Gorgeous. And then these are the 2 oranges right here. So it's like a little bit more red, but it's very similar. So again, something to keep in mind. I kind of think if you're going to have 4 palettes, they need to be incredibly different. I don't think there's an excuse to have colors. Those greens are like shockingly the same. I don't think there's really an excuse to have these same exact colors. Just my opinion. But all right, so let's do the look. So first I took the shade Access, and I just threw that all over my crease really, really lightly, just trying to get a base down. Pretty color. I liked the way it blended. Then I went into the shade Top Secret, and this is kind of where everything went wrong. The shade blended pretty nicely into the yellow and was able to hold its own. Looked good. I was checking it out. I liked it. It looked pretty good with the green. And then I tried mixing it in with Smooth Criminal, but that shade really did nothing for me. Even on my outer corner, it just didn't do anything. Then I messed up. I went into Prowl, and I put that a little bit too far along my line, and the green just got so muddied, so terrible. Definitely my fault, but it just kind of disappeared. Desperately, I put some more green on top to try and save the look, but that didn't work. Then I decided I was just going to do a cut crease, a big one. So this was a lot more of a cut crease than I did in the previous one. I first put in the shade Guilt Trip and just put that in the very inner corner of my eye. I did a gradient with the golds. And then I went to the shade Coin, and I put that more in the center of my lid, blending it into Guilt Trip. It blended really nicely. And then I went in with the shade Classified and blended that out into the brown at the bottom. So I had a really gorgeous like golds thing going on. Desperate attempt to fix everything, I tried to just like cover it all up with makeup wipe. That's like a little better, but it doesn't look a lot better. This is my main problem with this palette, is that the green performs okay. Like the green performs fine, and the yellow actually this yellow did shockingly well. The three shimmer shades, the main ones, Guilt Trip, Coin, and Classified, were my favorite part of the look. I did like a gradient with all three, and it looks really, really, really cool. I don't really like these two shades. Wish they had made them a little bit cooler toned or even like gone a little bit darker with them. And the green, which I feel like is the main shade in this, like the big pop and appeal, is like really not pigmented at all. And not in a good way, not in like a beginner friendly way, in a like it's impossible to build up kind of way. And even when you do build it up, it gets very muddied with every other color over it or under it. And to me, that's just like not great. This palette is not my favorite as of right now. I'm gonna take this off and we're gonna go into the final palette, which is already my favorite, which is the Bling Boss palette is next. We've ran the marathon. We're in the home stretch. Here we go. It is the Bling Boss palette, and it looks like this. This is the purple palette. This is the palette that when I saw it, I was like I was super, super excited, and it has not disappointed me so far. I really, really like this. I actually wore this out the other night. Let me do some swatches for you guys. So this is Bling, which is just a pretty like shimmery pink shade. This is Hush Hush, which is a very cool toned purple. And then this is Gem, which is like a metallic purple. It looks Hush Hush, looks so muted next to Gem. Okay, then we have Pizzazz and Mystique. Those ones, which are they're really pretty. Those are the top rows. This one has more shimmers in it than the other ones do, but I'm not mad at it. Sparks, which is more of a berry red. Glitz and Glam, which is like a pink, kind of similar to Bling, but not exactly the same. And then this deeper purple plum shade, which is called Rockstar, which is a little bit patchy. Some of these purples and reds, I would say Mystic, Sparks, and Rockstar are a little bit patchy, which like, okay, we're not gonna attack yet. Let's just give it a minute and see, because some of those other ones were patchy and they performed the best. Then we have Ballsy, which is a kind of like a pinky peach duochrome purple. And then we have Berry Treasure, which is a really unique shade. It's like a black purple with gold in it. I don't know. That one's pretty unique. So this is what they all look like together. You can see some of those purples are struggling a little bit, but that doesn't really mean a lot. This I definitely would like to use. It looks very blue on camera, but in person it is like a true royal purple. Very, very, very pretty. Let's just play with this palette. I had so much fun playing with this when I went out the other night. I couldn't wait to wear it, so I wore it out. And I found I really liked this because it was a really good way to do something a little bit smokier and a little bit deeper, while still not being black and not being too intense. So I liked this. I'm excited to play with this again. So first I took that shade Hush Hush and just put that all over my crease, really just warming up the crease. And then I went in with the shade Rockstar, and I was just kind of prepping my eyes for that really intense shade Gem, and I decided to do a really loose kind of halo eye, nothing too intense. And then I went in with that beautiful shade Gem, and this shade was just absolutely gorgeous. I put it on the outer and inner corner, really packing it in and blending it out just a little bit. Really gorgeous. Just kind of blending that out. And then I went in the shade Mystic, and I just tapped that on the very, very edge in the very, very inner corner. I literally love this palette. 10 out of 10. This one is the best palette to be in the entire collection. I'm not even done yet, but I just love this palette. Okay, moving on. Okay, so then I went in the shade Bling and put that on the center of the eye. and just kind of packing that on. And then I went in with the shade Glitz and Glam and really just started packing that on, blending it all together so it was a kind of loose version of a halo eye. Nothing too precise. I just love this palette. I just think this is like the pretty, like my eyes, I love this look. I could deepen it up, I think, with some of these colors, but I actually just like it being really bright and fresh. Something different than what I normally do. I really, really like this palette. Like, this is 10 out of 10, my favorite palette, this purple one. I kind of thought it might be because this is kind of what I wanted Norvina to be, I feel like. Except maybe instead of this red, throw like a hot pink or something fun. Like, that would have been a little bit more fun if you had like a hot pink here, but like, I'm just being nitpicky. Overall, do I think the collection is worth $50? I'm not mad that I spent $50 on this. So like, I guess to me it would be, but to you it's kind of like, do you want all of this eyeshadow? One thing I will say about this collection is that this is like a lot of eyeshadow. If I had to rate each one individually, this one would get like a 5 out of 10. I really think this is boring. I mean, it was like cute. The look I came up with was cute. Overall though, kind of a boring palette. Really similar to the Morphe Jaclyn Hill palette. So if you already have the original Jaclyn Hill palette, I don't think this was necessary. I don't believe the BS that like these are just the colors that didn't make it in, because like these colors are already in it. Armed and Gorgeous, I would probably give a 7 out of 10. Because this green, all of these shades were great except the green that I feel like is supposed to be the stunning one. And I also, if I remember correctly, this is the green that was the reason they like changed it, because Jackie Aina had a lot of issues with this green, if I'm remembering correctly. So the fact that that green is still not that great. But the rest of this palette I really liked, and the shimmers in here are really, really unique and cool. These gold ones, especially Coin and Classified, those are really, really unique shimmers. So I do like those. So I would give this, what, a 6 or a 7? I think I said 7 out of 10. This one I would give an 8 out of 10. Really shocked by this. Really, really, really liked it. Colors were super pigmented, but not too pigmented to the point where they went on super dark. They were easy to blend. I thought this was a really easy palette to work with. And then 10 out of 10, I really just love, love, love. I wish this was like a pink though. But other than that, I really, really love this palette. I'm just a fan of pinks and purples though. I think this palette would be really personal depending on which one you like, because they're all kind of different. But you got to see a little bit how they performed on my eyes and got to see the pigmentation, the blendability, stuff like that. Overall, I would say this is worth it. But I think, honestly, if it were me doing it again, and I didn't have a YouTube channel, I would just get like Bling Boss and probably Dark Magic. I would probably just get these two, spend $30, get 2 palettes that I actually want, instead of spending $50 on 4 palettes that I like, but are not like my absolute favorite thing on the planet. Yeah, this is cool though. This is really cool. I like the idea of this, drama aside, because I don't know if they actually change. I don't know if they're lying. Nobody really knows if they're like lying about repressing or not lying. But bottom line is, most of these shadows worked really well for me. They are not perfect like Jaclyn Hill claims they are. None of these shadows are perfect, but they're good shadows. It's a cute collection. If you like Jaclyn Hill, it's a good collection. If you like eyeshadow, I think this is a cool collection. I'll definitely use these palettes in my everyday life, especially some of the ones I mentioned that I would like pick up separately. I really like these. But again, I like Morphe shadows, but these don't remind me of typical Morphe shadows. The mattes were a lot more pigmented, creamier, more blendable than the typical Morphe shadows. So if you don't like, the shimmers seemed the same, but the mattes seem different. So if you don't like the mattes, maybe try picking one of these up. They're only 15 bucks and you can get them at Ulta, so you don't have to pay shipping, which is kind of cool. But yeah, that's my little vault collection review. I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like and subscribe, or just subscribe, or do neither. I'm honestly just so happy you're watching me. Thank you. Sorry I looked crazy in all these eye looks because I didn't have my face done, but it would have taken me 7 years instead of 2 years to get this out. So everything I'm using, including the vault collection, will be linked down below. It's they're like magic links. So I do make a small commission if you buy from them. So if you like me and so you support me and you're gonna buy the vault collection anyway, buy it through my link. I'm trying to think what else. I have my Patreon down there, my Twitter. Subscribe to me on Twitter. I'm almost at 500 Twitter followers, and I'm so excited. Follow me on Instagram, and I post on there sometimes, but Twitter is like my main one. And yeah, I love you guys. I hope you like this video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!